on, Cowboy Nation? Welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and like always, my co-host, Game Time Bryan. And it looks like it switched us over. Let me switch. There you go. There you go. There you go. It's switching us around and everything. But the one thing that's for sure is that they stuck Space Cowboy still there. But Game Time, welcome back to Primetime Studios. We're right around the corner from the NFL draft, where the Dallas Cowboys. Do they even know what they themselves are doing? But guess what? This episode, we're going to try to guess some of that and
They don't
other
need to
NFL
know.
teams.
We got it right here. We got it right here. We got everybody taken care of.
So, and I want to welcome our special guest, Space Cowboy. I appreciate you coming through our annual NFL draft thing. I think this is
year two.
Year two. So it's becoming a thing. You do it a third time. People kind of respect you for it.
Yeah.
But welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you. No, of course. I'm excited. Hey, the NFL draft is next week. You know, man, time is flying by, and we're finally going to see what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, regardless of the Cowboys and their ineptness off the field, and I don't know what they're doing. People, I have, how many people? I'm sure Space and Prime get this too. Well, what do you think they're going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do half the time, let alone an organization who is going into a season with no quarterbacks under contract beyond this year. None of their coaches are under contract beyond this year. So I don't know, but we're going to do the best we can to figure it out. That's all I could say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, right now I want to go to the chat. We have Jack Meeker was in here early, Isaac Ramirez, Jeff Lee, Mike Aldana, Crystal Carmel Corn, of course, Brad Harris represented. The Royal Cowboy, thank you very much. Love the intro. See as we go down, Rolando Rodriguez, Clemente, and of course, Lady Libra here. Elena Walker representing her course her Eagles, and you can never get too much information on the rival, the ones that are, head to head, because I mean, when you come to this division, there's the other ones are making move. Washington, of course, with the move with Dan Quinn over, kind of knows us. Yeah, maybe knows the management. I don't know if he knows Mike McCarthy too much. He does have his weaknesses and stuff. But with that going forward, I'm going to ask you guys start this off, because obviously we're going to jump to the draft later on. But going into the final year of Mike McCarthy's contract, do you see them go re-signing him before it expires, or is it something that you see possibly moving forward that we're going to be open to everything next year?
Go ahead, Space.
Space.
Sure. Yeah, I believe that when it comes to Mike McCarthy specifically, I think that they're going to let it play out. Again, with coaches, you don't have a salary cap, so you don't really have anything to worry about on that front. But I think it's just the principle of, like how they handled with Garrett in his second contract, they're kind of looking at 2024 like they did 2019, which was a year where, hey, now they did have different approaches for sure. But with 2019, it was the idea of, hey, this team needs to do something. If not, we're going to let the contract expire and we'll go find your replacement. Now, to me, I felt like they should have just ripped the Band-Aid off after the playoff game. If they, in the back of their minds, are saying, we don't know if Mike McCarthy is the guy to get us to where we want to go, if you're having those doubts, then you need to pull the plug and look at what's available to you. That's something that good front offices and good organizations would do. Now, there's not a problem with keeping Mike McCarthy. It's just about understanding how you're building your core. And that is, if you feel like, hey, Mike McCarthy keeps us competitive. We've been to the playoffs 3 straight years. We've been a good team in the regular season, which is usually the first step. And also, that's usually what he did in Green Bay, was his teams were good enough to get into the playoffs, had some fumbling in the postseason. Granted, he went farther in Green Bay than he did here, for sure. But I think that you kind of can let it play out with McCarthy. But as for the other pieces, different story. So
yeah, and I'm gonna switch before we go to game time, because I'm gonna ask the same kind of question, but I'm gonna go towards Dak Prescott, because obviously both guys are linked together, whether they want to believe it or not. And going into this, and I know Bryan loves to talk himself some Dak Prescott stuff.
You couldn't get He did it on purpose, people. He did it on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a quota to reach, people. No, I'm just kidding.
He did it on purpose.
No, man. Well, I'm gonna say, you talked about, you guys were talking about it before we jumped on the broadcast. The interview that Dak had yesterday. How was that tone? How are you feeling going into
I brought it up
this
to Space Cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
I brought it up to Space Cowboy. Yeah, right before we went live, and I said it just was. I did a video on it after me, you, and Mark last night, and I posted it today. It looked odd to me, but Space made a good point. He's looking around, and they haven't even offered him a deal. My lunchtime chat got lively. It's always over Dak. I'm over it. I'm over the Dak BS. But, if you really like a player, you would have offered him a frigging contract, wouldn't you? It's not a good look. Just like Space says when he talks about McCarthy. Okay, if you're not, this is how not NFL, any major sport works. If you're not all in, then you're out. So if you're not going to give any, I hate the whole lame duck thing. This whole, everybody's fighting for the job. Does it really work in this day and age? I guess here's the deal. Nothing else is working. So who am I to say it's not going to work, but I don't like it. So as far as Dak Prescott, he looks like a guy who's miffed. He's like, what did I do that you're not even going to offer me a deal? I'm hearing they came to Dak and said, what do you think about the comments that Jerry Jones says that they're going all in? And he goes, wow, that would be great. Remember a couple months ago? That would be great. We're going all in. He's probably saying, okay, we're going all in. We're going to get a couple exciting pieces. We're going to extend everybody, and everybody's in the car going towards the Super Bowl maybe. Now, nothing's happened. So I think he's in a wait and see. At the end of the day, he's fine, people. He's a multi-millionaire. He'll never have to worry. So let's not shed a tear for Dak. But he's probably like, what the F, man? I am the MVP runner-up 2 out of the last 3 years. Only it's all my fault? That's
Right.
probably how he's looking at it, maybe. I don't know.
Well, as I'm continuing this whole run, especially with the quarterbacks, and as we're going down the line and contracts expiring and people possibly not going to be there or futures or not, we're going to circle around to, of course, another topic that seems to be hitting some traction, which is not surprising, especially as we were talking about contracts. But Trey Lance, of course, going the 5th-year option not picked up on there. Not surprising there. If you're going to go with a move that you're going to extend this guy, it's going to be lower cap number than that, and of course they're going to extend him a little bit more. But unproven, with the possible spring, just all that spring happening, and then of course the training camps, and then of course preseason, his stock being able to go up. Space, I got to ask you now. I covered this with Bryan before, but I got to say, I got to get somebody else's opinion. Now, with Trey Lance, do you think, other than not having anything happening with Dak Prescott, do you see a possible future with Trey Lance going forward, opening up the salary cap a little bit more than what Dak Prescott would be on the board? Do you see that as a possibility, or did we waste a pick there?
Well, I don't think you wasted a pick, and I said this in a Twitter space, is that ultimately, if you are like any good team or really any organization, you want to make sure that you have certain measures in place. And I've said it for several times on my channel that I wanted the Cowboys to take a quarterback to have as a developmental guy. Maybe you can flip him, or you got a nice backup that's better than Cooper Rush. I actually wanted them to take Aiden O'Connell in last year's draft with that 4th-round selection, but they decided to go elsewhere. But that's okay. Now, to us, we think it's a waste of a pick because you're not seeing the return on investment there. But again, you really don't want to see Trey Lance there because that just tells you that Dak Prescott got hurt or something horrific happened and now you're resorting to him. And I'm not saying that Trey Lance is terrible. I just think the problem is that he has not had a fair shake in this league. But to kind of answer your question regarding the whole, with the salary cap and stuff like that, here's the problem. If you decide to let Dak walk, you're going to have a $40 million cap hit in 2025. That's the biggest that would be the biggest dead cap hit in league history, and that's going to overlap what Russell Wilson's is this year. And I think for what the Cowboys are trying to see is, hey, can Trey Lance be something? Can he be better than Cooper Rush? Can he be that? But I mean, I'm not a fan of like going into 2025 with the idea that Trey, because you're going to have to sign him to another contract, and then odds are, if we're looking at how those contracts can look, if Trey Lance is in a situation and his agent's like, well, you might have a chance to be the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, I don't see a way he's going to take a contract where he's like, oh, it's going to be a $5 million. Like, that's not how the quarterback market works, people. Like, you're probably looking at paying this dude $10+ million at minimum if he's willing to take that contract short term. So to end my whole soliloquy here is that the Cowboys have put themselves in a terrible position to take this amount of dead cap hits that are set to line up. They're not going to most likely spend money to build the team, even if Dak Prescott's gone and you open up that money, or you can use other levers to open up the money. But for Trey Lance, he has the intangibles that you would want in a quarterback. Physically, he has those things. The problem is that did the injuries in San Francisco and the stuff that he went through ruin it? I think that's the question. And so I think we're kind of, and the front office is probably thinking, hey, let's see what we got in this guy in preseason. If we decide to sign Dak again, okay, we could flip him for a pick, or if you bum out, you got to try. Like, you can't just not do anything. That would be malpractice. Like, I don't understand some parts of the Cowboys fan base where it's like, no, you can't draft a quarterback. You can. I'm not saying you got to draft a quarterback early, but you need to prepare for anything. You don't know when someone's going to take their last snap in the NFL. So.
Well, okay, so.
Well, in my thing, real quick, if we trade back, I've done it, we've talked about it. It allows you to possibly, my dream scenario, people, I don't know if it's going to happen. My dream scenario is to maybe trade down to Buffalo, get that third or fourth, whatever that is, and then trade down again to 30s or early 40s at the latest and get another 3 or 4. So you would be looking at 2 3s, 2 2s, and 2 4 and a 4. You would get 5 top 100 players. Then, like when you get to round 5, you might be looking at a quarterback. We talked about it. I do think I wouldn't take a quarterback before round 5. I know round 4 is a sweet spot for the Cowboys, but they've left the cupboard so bare that they need to address some needs that they just do. But there are a couple quarterbacks I would definitely like them to draft. And let's face it, people, they have to bring in another quarterback. They have to. They have to go to camp with at least 4. So, and they're going to keep 3. Mike McCarthy is a 3-quarterback guy. He's going to keep 3. Get used to it. So
I think Cooper Rush is the guy that's kind of out of there, and you're going to have to play that juggle if you do grab that quarterback, keeping him on there. I mean, now you have that new rule with the third quarterback kind of rotates in there. But I'm with Space. I really like the history that Mike McCarthy has shown in the sense that drafting a quarterback and developing them and maybe trading them off, stuff. Of course, those are the ones that everybody rumored. Oh, I remember Brett Favre's whole whole train and stuff. Well, there was a reason why that was all happening. It was because Mike McCarthy was drafting. They were developing. So that's the guy that I at least get excited about that Trey Lance is learning is from McCarthy. And so, I'm interested to see what happens in the preseason. Again, I'm on there where I would love for Dak to be that guy going forward, but again, I don't want this. I don't want us bending over backwards on everything just to kind of have it happen. And I know re-signing him would definitely open up some cap. Of course, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Parsons, and then we would be rolling really into some free agency next year. Guys, going into this draft though, because you can't jump ahead, going into free agency, and we're not gonna, we don't have the history of that. In this first 2 rounds, what is you guys, as your individual, as the main focus of the Dallas Cowboys, what is your main position that you would like to walk away with in the first 2 rounds that you think is pivotal to change maybe what the offense shows or what the defense shows? I can go first to kind of give you guys a moment, but
I'll go.
of course, my guy.
Space go first.
Yeah, Okay, go ahead, Space.
Yeah, I think that you shouldn't, as a team, force a pick. I think that, to me, in the mock drafts that I've done, you can go really any route. I think that offensive line in the first round has been the best option. I'm not opposed to taking skill position players either. But to me, if I'm looking at how the team is going to do it, I think you need to build up these trenches, man. I wouldn't be opposed to taking a defensive tackle in round one. Like, if someone fell, that'd be awesome. But no, I think it would be offensive line and linebacker. There are guys, and we'll kind of get further into it as we do the draft, and we kind of have that discussion. But yeah, I would say those two positions. And again, if Stephen Jones or anyone's talking about, oh, we got to go to this position early, or we're thinking about, like, don't force it, because this is a draft where I like a decent amount of these offensive lineman prospects as they slide down the board. But I think that there could be better players. Like, I know this might sound asinine, but like, hey, if there's a receiver is a sneaky need long term, and this team thinks 2 to 3 years down the road. So if there's a guy that's a very talented prospect at that position, don't be afraid to take a player of that caliber there. Like, that's where I'm worried. This team has that idea of doing that, and we're kind of hearing they're looking at doing offensive line, specifically tackle.
When I look at it, I would agree a lot. I think a lot of it has to do with the trenches, whether you're doing defense attack. It's just, to me, the interior is the biggest thing. We went and put Tyler Biotish, a guy that's mid, and you put him against 2 all-pros, and did that mean that he played at an all-pro level? That doesn't automatically mean anything. And so to get a guy that you could at least name and say, oh, last year I really liked, what was it, Linderbaum? That that was my kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so this year I'm kind of going in there. I would really like to just solidify that center position. Ever since Frederick left, this offensive line really has not been the same. I think, and I'm not opposed against the linebacker position. I think there's like 2 or 3 of these guys that I get excited about in the second round. That possibly being there. I'm not very excited because I've seen some of them draft. Cowboys drafting Junior Colston in the first, and I'm like, okay, I'm not excited about that. But it's not a terrible pick. But again, if you're trading back and then you're doing that, like Bryan says, I love that. But to me, I think this is a great draft to come out of here with a combination of a center, tackle, guard, tackle. It's just something. You should be able to get at least 2 guys, and I think Space is correct. You can get some value later in the draft because there are going to be some people dropping.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I need 2 starters in my first 2 picks. So if you're looking at it that way, I really don't care. I think listen, I don't care what round they come in. Linebacker, I think is key. We need to get a bigger linebacker. Remember, Mike Zimmer likes to run 3 linebackers. Difference between him and what's his name, Dan Quinn. He liked 2 linebackers and more safeties, which is why you saw Marquise Bell as much. So we're going to be running 3 linebackers. Okay, I know we got Michael Kendricks. He's aging. He's probably a 1-year guy. Maybe we'll see if Zimmer stays, if he'll stay. But as of now, he's got a 1-year deal. We have a Overshone who we don't know what we have. We know he's an unbelievable athlete, but just give me one of them linebackers. I like a half a dozen of them. So, okay, it really doesn't matter to me. I'll even take a flyer on a Peyton Wilson. He's probably the clone of the guy who played in Minnesota under Zimmer. I can't think of his name right now, but I know he's injured a lot, but he hasn't been injured in the last 2 years. It's what have you done for me lately? Edger and Cooper probably will be gone, but give me a linebacker and give me a starting center. I'm not rolling into the season with TJ Bass or I like TJ at guard. I know he can play. Unless a dream scenario would be a Troy Fontenot drop to us, then my God, that would be beautiful. But there's no way in hell that's going to happen, people. So
you never know.
There's not many left. Well, it ain't gonna happen.
You gotta wish and believe upon a star, Bryan.
There's not many left tackles in this draft. There's a lot of right tackles. that are going to be a projection going to the next level, which is the highest level that you could possibly want. So give me a linebacker and give me a starting center. Now, luxury picks, you know me, I want to trade down. I want to get away from the first round pick to accumulate more picks to possibly get a receiver, to possibly, you know, get a safety. You know, things that doesn't necessarily jump out at you, but I think that they are in need going forward. So there you go, my long-winded answer.
No. And I think you kind of make a valid point in the sense that you know, you trading back, it kind of opens up some possibilities. I mean, if I was to ask you guys right now, Space, you can answer this because I think I know Brian's pretty, you know, because we've been talking about the subject quite a bit. If you were to draft running back in this draft with the picks that you have now, where are you kind of dropping? You know, like if you made that a priority and you're like, okay, we need to get somebody back there that I can be able to hand the ball off to, that I can have a complimentary back that comes in and relieves him. Where are you drafting that? Do you have some names on your list? And you know, running back.
Yeah, so a name you should keep an eye out on day 2 is Jonathan Brooks. The Cowboys team doctors have worked with Jonathan Brooks, and they didn't work on the rehab, just strictly the surgery, so they understand the player that they're working with. And they're like, he's a very talented prospect. The only concern is the injury. You know, is this going to be like a Jalen Smith situation? Well, it's not as bad of an injury. It is an ACL injury still late into the college season. Another name is Trey Benson. I've seen him kind of go in round 3. I think that the way that I'm looking at how this draft is falling is if you really want a top-end running back that you're going to get good production for 3 to 4 years, depending on how you're trying to use this backfield, you're probably going to need to spend like a day 2 pick on one, specifically 3rd round. But there are guys you could find in rounds 5 and 6 that can suffice. I mean, that's usually been the gold mine for many of these NFL teams. And again, like, I don't know what they want to do. Like, if McCarthy, if he wants to get his way, which if you recall in Green Bay, he usually did a running back by committee. I know he had Eddie Lacy for a little bit of time there, but usually that's what was the case. So, I mean, that's usually what the NFL is nowadays. Just draft a running back, you make him be the lead guy, and move on. And Blake Corum's another name to keep an eye on too.
So Brian, you know, saying on that same subject, when you're talking about you're mentioning, you know, if you're trading back, you're getting another 4th, maybe that's where you'd be your sweet spot. Now, if you're talking about how you've been mentioning, okay, we drop back to 28, and then we drop back to 32. You drop back a couple of times.
Yes,
are you thinking now maybe a running back sooner than you would have because of the extra picks?
No, and I understand what Space is saying. You know, the Dr. Cooper did the surgery. Me personally, I'm waiting on running back because, man, there's a bunch of them that I love. So, but what they would do, I don't know. To me, it's kind of, you know, if you're gonna go Jonathan Brooks and you're gonna go that high, that's fine. I just want everybody to understand. Don't let the injury really bother you. Trey Benson had a torn ACL when he was a freshman in college, so it's not like, you know, listen, you're just a ticking time bomb when you're in the NFL. ACL surgeries I mean, I don't want to say routine, but it's a routine surgery these days. To be. Yeah, Yoni Gallup had 3. That's why you saw he's probably got unbelievable amount of what do you call it when you have a bunch of surgeries, scar tissue and stuff like that. That's probably why he's lost his burst.
Wilson.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I would say by round 4, man, you get yourself a good one. You know, like we talked about Jalen Wright. They brought Jalen Wright in. Braylon Allen, me personally, I'm not in on Braylon Allen just by his running style. I'm not saying he's bad, but I really love Jalen Wright, Ray Davis out of Kentucky. And I do like Jonathan Brooks. Trey Benson should be the number 1 running back off the board. He should. So if that's the case, I'm not getting him. I already told you, Phil. If we trade out of the first and we get those 5 top 100, I'm hunting 5 top 100 picks. If we do that, then I might be getting a receiver in round 2. You're gonna get 2 round. I mean, you're gonna have two.
Oh, did they? That's awesome.
What happened?
Yeah, they do that. They usually have like a booth and everything. Ultra says primetime game time. They opened an NFL shop downtown for the draft. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They
cool.
do usually do the booths and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Very cool. But yeah, that's how it is. You know, listen, I really trust. At the end of the day, people, I really trust I really trust Will McClay to do the right thing. I just do. You know, I didn't agree with Mozzie, but okay. You know, it's not over. The book isn't written on him yet. You got to give him 3 years. That's not fair. The good thing is they're putting weight on him. So
something happened to Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was watching. But I trust in our scouting. So if they deem that we go wide receiver in round 1, then I'm gonna trust that they have a plan. You know, this is where I have a problem, guys, when they start looking ahead and go, well, we're not gonna re-sign CD, so we got to go out and get Bryan Thomas Jr. You know, I don't like that because then you're just replacing what you have. You're not taking a step forward. But like whatever they do, I'm fine. But the novice drafter that I am, you know, give me like an offensive center. But like I said, if JPJ is not there and Graham Barton's not there, I would use the receiver and any quarterback that drops as trade collateral to back down.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But I don't know
that
they're going to find a trade partner. I don't know that they're going to find a trade partner because draft picks are gold these days. So we need one of those quarterbacks to drop to us. We need like somebody to drop to us in order for us, you know, like a receiver. You watch, all the offensive linemen are going to be gone at 24, and the best player on the board is going to be Murphy. Or it's going to be like defensive tackle and like a corner. And then what do we do? What do we do? You know? So, anyway.
So we are basically at the halfway point right now. And, you know, I didn't know if you guys wanted to jump into this draft because obviously we're going to talk about each pick.
Yeah, let's do the draft.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay.
Are we going to... so how are we going to do this? Are we going to draw numbers? Just put 1, 2, 3? Or...
Yeah, I don't know who wants to do the...
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't want the Cowboys pick, so
I can...
You guys can have it.
Let me do this real quick.
I don't want it. It's like a grenade. There's no way I want it.
Yeah, just pick a name out of a hat, right?
Whoever gets 1 is going to get the Cowboys pick. So just know that because it's 1, 3.
Yeah, we rotate and you get the Cowboys pick.
Yeah. So, who gets number 1? All
right.
Space can tell you to grab one.
All right. Okay, Space, you want to grab one right here? Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'll artificially grab.
You're number 2.
Number 2.
All right. Just pick one for me, Phil.
All right, so here's... Okay.
Let me make sure I'm good on mine.
Oh, shit. You're number 3. God dang it.
I don't get it. Yay. Prime time gets the Cowboys. Get ready for an offensive tackle. Here it comes, baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be sexy at all, man. It's not going to be sexy at all.
Yo, that's funny as hell.
All right, can you guys see this? Can you say I see the board or anything?
Listen.
I don't know if you guys can see the broadcast or anything.
I don't see it yet.
Okay, I didn't share. If I share it, it's going to pull it up. But we'll just tell you who's available then. Okay.
I see it.
We're gonna do one. We're gonna do
it's
one.
on the broadcast Space.
It's on the broadcast. He doesn't see it. I think he's
I don't see it. What I'm gonna do is I got it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just put a overlay of the PFF mock draft in front of me. So.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So I'm gonna take a wild guess on my first pick. Then what I think Chicago's gonna do.
There it is, buddy.
Trade the pick.
I'm gonna trade it.
Trade the pick away.
No,
I really think no. We're gonna try to do it, but I mean, obviously that's what's gonna throw everything off because it's gonna be obviously gonna be trades, you know.
Well, you can't. But we're not mind readers, so yeah.
You can't predict that. Yeah, exactly. You can't predict that. So I'm gonna wait till space is ready.
We'll
go ahead and.
Let me make sure that I take this out of. Sorry. Just take it. There we go. All right, wait, we're good to go. We're good. We're good to go. Alrighty, all good to go when you're ready to go.
Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so with the first pick of the NFL draft.
Yes, Rolando. Yes.
The Chicago Bears take Marvin here. No, okay.
Caleb Williams.
All right, yeah, that's not surprising. That's something they've been talking about.
Well, let's talk about that though. Just real quick.
Just last year.
I want to talk on each pick, even if it's just for a few seconds each.
That's fine.
Sure.
What is your opinion of Caleb Williams? Because I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. But in saying that, he is not a Troy Aikman. He has got some serious flaws, I think, from the shoulders up. I don't know. What's your opinion on?
Look, if you're saying to me that the only problem you have with Caleb Williams is he wears dresses and he paints his nails, then that dude's a perfect prospect. Look, he is my quarterback one in this draft class. Yeah. I think he has all the traits that you need. Now, do I think that some of his antics are a bit weird? Yeah, and I'm curious to see how he does in Chicago. But the thing is Chicago is making moves to make it more suitable for him, which is what a good team should be doing. But no, Caleb Williams is a fantastic prospect. It's just a matter of what that coaching staff does to help him out there. So.
Yeah, I just think.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I just think I would have liked to have. I would like to have kept. If I was a Chicago fan, man, I dream of scenarios like this. Unless you think he's the Troy Aikman, he's that guy. I would have loved to have kept Justin Fields and just got a boatload of picks and just a stacked team around him.
I agree.
I just think that they've had horrible luck with quarterbacks, and this might just be another one. He may be a good player, but he's going to come in, and it's going to be a lot of pressure, and I just don't know. Phil?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, buddy.
Well, no, you're good. When it comes to Justin Fields, it's just like this is the first year, this past year, where it seemed like they gave him a wide receiver. They finally gave him somebody, and he actually started using their wide receiver. He's like, oh, I can actually throw it to somebody, and they'll catch it, and they'll run as well, and it doesn't always have to be me. And so he kind of showed these flashes, and then you go out and you get, these wide receivers and some of these weapons, and you're just sitting there going, okay, man, they're going to do some stuff, and now you're just getting it ready for this guy. And as I watched him last year, I was never really impressed as, he's a quarterback. I couldn't understand some of the hype that was going around him. But as he talks and as he's, even the weird stuff, that stuff does not bother me. Just continue being yourself. And that's what I do like about him is that he's not allowing the media and all that stuff to kind of change him. Again, I'm with Space. I'm really interested to see how he does in Chicago, but I can't measure the same thing as I would with Justin Fields because now they're actually giving him weapons. And so it's going to be a whole different Chicago offense. We'll see how that defense stacks up, though.
For sure.
So the second pick of the NFL draft. And then the second pick.
We should just screw the Commanders and take a kicker. No, I'm just kidding. What I think's going to happen, or what I would do with the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels, quarterback, LSU.
Makes no sense. Yes, I agree. I second that. I don't know about you, Brian. Go ahead.
Well, I've been saying Jaden Daniels the whole time up until Jaden came out 2 days ago and said he really doesn't want to play for Washington. So it'll be very interesting to see if they take him anyway.
I don't blame him. Who wants to play for Washington?
Well, I don't like these quarterbacks. I didn't like when Eli did it. So, they come out, I don't want to go here. I don't want to go here. And it was like, okay, whatever. But, yeah, that's the pick. he's right with the pick. It'll just be funny because he's come out and he's the Pro Football Talks, all the blogs are all saying that the Commanders front office are down on Daniels based on how his interview went. So that'll be interesting. So you're telling me I'm on the clock with the New England Patriots?
Yeah. Yeah, and to me, it makes the most sense. I mean, Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, come on now, like, why he isn't the first? I mean, you'll see some body of work. Maybe the school. I don't know. I really, to me, I think Jayden Daniels should be the number one. But again, there's like 3 or 4 of these guys that you can put as number one, and I wouldn't really be surprised. We'll see here in a couple of years who ends up being right.
Right.
So yes,
Absolutely.
go ahead for the third pick in the 2024 NFL
tricky
draft.
Because this one's tricky, okay, people, because I'm not a Drake May guy at all. I mean, at all. So, I don't know that a lot of these. I think he's going to slide, people. I think he's going to slide. I don't think he goes here. I think that this quarterback I'm about to say is. I don't even know that it's going to be New England is going to be sitting here. This might be one of those. If Daniels is gone, they're going to try and bail, in my opinion. New England. So in this case, Daniels is gone. I'm going to give them J.J. McCarthy. They do not draft Drake May. Drake May has all the physical tools. He's got the arm. What he doesn't have is if you watch some of his games, some games he just looks lost. Like he does not know how to read a defense, and that's college, where we all know college, there's nothing but space. Open in college is way different than being open in the pros, where you don't have much room. So unless you're the Cowboys against Green Bay, and then everybody's running free, and everybody looks like a Heisman winner. So give me J.J. McCarthy as a shocker to the New England Patriots or Minnesota, if you ask me.
To me, that wouldn't be that shocking. I don't know. To you, Space, what do you think?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think that after you go through Williams, Daniels, then after that it's a little bit of a drop off. Not like super, like with May, I'm a fan of Drake May. However, I think that he's going to be very dependent. I mean, I say that with any prospect, but with him, he's not a guy that's like, hey, he's going to step in and be the guy. I think that if you're Drake May, looking at it from his perspective, you want to go to New England. I think that also I would laugh my ass off if J.J. McCarthy went to the Giants, because that's some traction.
Yeah, that could be fun.
But nah, man, I think also.
Does have traction.
I think just
you might have your shot.
Oh
no, JJ's gone. You might.
Yeah.
I don't know who has the Giants.
I mean, look, Drake May. I like what he has intangible wise. However, I don't see superstar potential with him. I think he's a guy that can maybe be like a top 15 guy, which is if that's fair, yeah. But nah, I just think the body works different between the other two.
The space. I think, in my opinion, that's a spot that somebody's going to trade up to.
I could see that, yeah.
Like whether it's Minnesota or they really want J.J. McCarthy, and I think that New England's in a position where they want one guy. They want Jayden Daniels, and if he's not there, in my opinion, I'm not in the war room, but that's what I'm hearing. So if that's the case, but hey, that's why we're doing it. We're having fun.
So, in this next one, I mean, for the Arizona Cardinals, to me, it really depends on what happens with those next 3. Everybody's pointing at the one that I'm going to pick next, which makes sense for the Arizona Cardinals. But hey, what happens if Daniels was to drop down? I've heard some rumblings about Murray. I know he has that bigger contract, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't be willing to walk away. What do they do with the first round pick in Rosen? They were quick to walk away with him. So Arizona has had this thing. So to me, if Daniels seems to drop, that could be a quarterback that could jump to Arizona, and they could end up doing a little shaking of the draft there. But of course, I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr., which makes sense because if you can't get your quarterback, you might as well start getting your guy weapons that can you at least sell some jerseys, right? I think with this thing, I mean, to me,
Right.
I'm not crazy about that offense. I just get pissed off every time I think about it because we obviously got blown away by them. So hey, Marvin Harrison Jr., what do
Yeah.
you guys think of the pick?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. You go ahead.
Nah, man, like, dude, like I think that kind of like how I always talk about the approach of some franchises. I think that if you are all in on Kyler Murray and you're trying to build this roster up, give him the best available weapon for him, and you just roll with that. You have another first round pick in this draft, or you can, if something happens in the first three, you can trade down, get more draft capital, and keep building this team. But Arizona, I think they have, with Jonathan Gannon, they have a nice structure in place. I'm really curious to see, now that you start adding offensive weaponry to that team, how it looks. So.
Yeah, and
That's gonna change it.
I mean, I heard this another team who is looking to trade down, believe it or not. Even though Marvin Harrison has come out, he wants to go to Arizona. I think it's a great fit, but now you're looking at Drake May. In this scenario, you're looking at Drake Mays on the board. Again, if I'm Arizona with the amount of receivers that are in this draft, I would be looking to sell, move down a few spots. Who knows? Maybe you get one of the receivers and pick up some more draft capital. But that's a spot where I think that could be it. But I love Marvin Harrison. I think he's the most. I like Malik Neighbors just a little better, but I think Marvin Harrison is the real deal. So great pick.
So to me, Space, I think this next one's going to be very interesting because I think Chargers could go a couple of different ways, and it's going to be interesting to see what you choose for them. But yeah, you pick for the Chargers.
Well, if I were them and I was in this position, I would definitely look to trade down. But since I'm not going to do that, obviously. I'm going to roll with Malik Neighbors. I think that Malik Neighbors is arguably you can make an argument that he is the best receiver in this draft class over Marvin Harrison Jr. There is an argument there. I think it's 1A, 1B. It can go either way. But a lot of people have been mocking Brock Bowers to the Chargers, which to me doesn't really make any sense because how I would look at it is you just let go of Keenan Allen, excuse me, my apologies, and then Mike Williams is gone. You're going to need to give Justin Herbert weapons, give him the best. Like I just said with Arizona, you give your quarterback the best weapons possible, or you just trade back, you take another dude later on, but you keep building this team. I'm really curious to see how Jim Harbaugh handles things over there. So
yeah, and
That's a good pick.
yeah, and that's what I had been mocking for ages. And on the surface, yeah, they lost both receivers, but everything I'm hearing out of L.A., the Chargers, and radio interviews, and hearing Harbaugh talk. Harbaugh is the guy who, in an interview, basically said, offensive line is what makes your team go. What's the one position on your team that if it fails, the whole offense fails? It's the offensive line. If the offensive line fails, your best receiver, the best running back in the league, you could have the best quarterback. All of these guys cannot function if the offensive line does not do their job. They've been talking O-line, and I agree, they lost a lot of weapons. But in this draft, I think it's deep. I think they would have to go Joe Alt or one of those big boys. But I know one thing. The Giants are salivating right now because the offensive tackles are just sitting there for them. But who's on deck? Who's on the clock right now? The Giants?
You are, the Giants are on.
All right, well, I need a ding, buddy. I need a ding.
I love it. I love weed with the State Farm neighbor. That was awesome.
And I hate to do this because it's the least a pick that, as a Cowboy fan, I want to see with the Giants. But I think they go Joe Alt, left tackle out of Notre Dame. Out of Notre Dame. He is a beast. He's ready to roll. I think he's 6'8", and good luck to us. So I'm hoping that the Chargers take him and Giants screw it up and go with a quarterback or something. That would be the best case scenario for us
Yeah,
Cowboy fans.
if they end up going with that way, I think Joe Alt would definitely go to the Titans, for example, in the next set because Lawan, of course, moving, not being there as well. But I think with that one, I think that kind of like rocks them a little bit to where they actually, what was I am actually going to go corner, and I am going to go Mitchell out of Toledo because, again, I think they've been working well on, I don't want to say well. I mean, they're better than what the Cowboys are doing in their offseason for their offense. So I think they definitely need to add some pieces to a defense that is just, let's be real, man. They got it. They need to start trying to keep them in there a little bit more as they have their questions. Quarterback, is Drake May a guy that they would want to step up and try to take that responsibility? I'm not sure. Maybe they think they can get value, but I'm going to go Mitchell from Toledo here in this position. What about you guys?
No. No, I mean, like, I feel like with the Titans, the Titans are in a position where you just get the best players available and you keep rolling from there. I think that you could make an argument that if they really wanted to go receiver to help out Will Levis or get someone else, that's fine. But I think that they really need to replenish that defense. So.
Yeah, I would go offensive line with them as well. So, yeah, that's just me. But, hey, it is what it is, man. They got arguably... Well, to me, they got the second best. I don't know. They could go either way. Mitchell and Terry Arnold are 1 and 1A. So, but I'm on the clock. Who do I have? The Atlanta Falcons? The Falcons?
Oh, actually, that would be that would be space with the Atlanta Falcons.
Good. You guys don't want to be Atlanta.
Yeah, sure. With the 8th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Dallas Turner, edge rusher from Alabama. I think that for the Falcons, they need to add some pieces onto their defensive line, specifically someone that can, brush the passer. I think they've done a great enough job adding all those offensive pieces. They finally get their quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Hopefully that turns out well. But you need to go beef up that defensive line, go get myself an edge rusher, and we call it from there. You could go corner, but I feel like the edge is more imperative to them in their success. So,
Bryan, what do you think?
About I think that makes sense. I really do.
I like
Now, I
could have gone
wondering,
like receiver as well, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, who did they bring in? Help me out. Who did they bring in on the offensive side of the ball? Didn't they bring in a receiver? Or no?
Because Atlanta?
Because you got a shiny new present with Kirk Cousins whenever he's going to be ready from his Achilles. That'll be interesting to see because that's not easy at his age to bounce back from. You would think with, what's his name still on the board? The Roma Dunze. You would think that might be a possibility, but Space did the right thing and went with the best possible defense. I think an edge rusher makes a lot of sense for Atlanta. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely would agree. There's been a lot of people leaving out for the past couple of years, I think, with that team. Let's be real, man. Dan Quinn's been kind of poaching them for quite a while, so they definitely need to replenish that defense. So I really like the pick as well. So, Bryan, the next one's to you, and let's go ahead.
Who's this, the Jets?
You get the Chicago Bears.
Oh, the Bears.
You get the Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears. Let's see here. The Chicago. The Bears. I don't know. You figure with their first pick, they're taking a quarterback, right? They need edge rusher, but it was just stolen from them. But we do have a Jared Verse on the board. Do we go Jared Verse? Do we go wide receiver? So it's Jared Verse, wide receiver. I'm going to do the Eagle thing. I'm going to let him drop a little farther for you. I am going to go with a Rome Odunze to give the new shiny quarterback, a shiny weapon on the outside to go along with the other weapons. Now this offense is actually looking half decent, which is why I said, why not just keep Justin Fields and really load up? But give them Roma Dunze out of University of Washington. Since space,
Nice.
they took their guy.
No, that's a really good pick, actually.
Well, I mean, a young guy, kind of like what they did with Joe Burrow. They gave him Jamar Chase, give him a big target. Rome is a huge target.
Yeah, they have tight ends there. I probably would have thought tight end too as well.
I thought about Brock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a smart
move.
No,
that's not a bad pick. So, oh man, I get the Jets. This one's going to be a little bit tougher. Let's see. A couple of things.
We could talk about it. Go ahead, it's your pick. Well, I'll just say this. There was an article I was reading, just to help you make your decision. Well, do not, just because it went out and got
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Right.
That's exactly the point
that doesn't preclude you, but they also said, now you remember that wide receiver is in need, but I just took their wide receiver. So there's Brian Thomas, but we're not trading back. They did say that if Aaron wants a tight end, they're going to get him a tight end. They didn't say which rounds, but to me it would be, two obvious areas of need. And, I think you just go with the best guy there, man.
Man, to me, to me, the tackle would be the pick. It would make sense. I mean, you got 2 tackles just in this offseason, but can you really rely on Tyron Smith to be healthy for you? You got to have that backup plan. And I got to somewhat believe that the Jets are going to be smarter about a backup plan for Tyron Smith than what the Cowboys have been for the past couple of years. So I'm going to go Oregon State tackle Huaga for the Jets and give him another piece. Because let's be real. Even with him maybe being behind somebody or, moving somebody else to the right tackle and then moving that guy, he's going to have he's going to have some playing time. What would you guys have done on this one? Because I think that the Jets here, it could have gone a couple different directions.
I mean, it really depends on the answer. I think when you're drafting that high, you shouldn't be drafting short-sighted. So if Aaron Rodgers says, I want a tight end, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to play one more year and he's gone. So to me, I wouldn't force a pick of a tight end, but I do like the pick of Fuaga here. I think what this does is that it gives you long-term a guy on the offensive line that will help out, and I think that you have the opportunity to contend as is, and you just see how things go. But yeah,
I love the pick because he could, if Tyron's healthy, he could play. If Fuaga played right tackle, so that's fine. That's great. And then when hopefully he can transition to left tackle, like a lot of guys in this draft, right tackles. And we'll get to it. But a lot of them are right tackles that we're projecting can play left tackle at the next level, which is why I love Troy Fontenot so much because he's just a left tackle. But I love the pick. In my opinion, that's where I would have went.
Nice. So, space, this is going to be the interesting one because I have a direction I think they could go. I think you are thinking the same way. But tell me, where do the Minnesota Vikings do on their pick?
With the 11th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Drake May, quarterback, North Carolina. They do not have to trade up to possibly get a guy that they might fall in love with. They just stick and pick at 11, and they get another pick at 23. I mean, look, they need a quarterback, point blank period, for the long term. I don't know how the guys are going to feel about it there in the sense of how Justin Jefferson feels. Does he want to be a part of a team that's going through growing pains with a young quarterback? But then again, who knows? I think you get the best remaining quarterback on the board. You didn't have to give him any draft capital, and you can continue to build up this team. So,
nice. I like the pick. Brian?
I like it a lot. Yeah, no, that's good. I definitely think the slide has fallen. I think like we talked about it, Minnesota is probably going to be involved in trading up. So which is fine. But in this scenario, that was the perfect pick. I love Drake May, just not necessarily at the top. To me, this is a little bit less of a little bit less risky. I think it's probably a better. I don't know. I think a good situation would be New England for Drake May. I really do. So it'll be interesting because we'll be there to watch it and see it all play out. I'm really looking forward to it.
If Drake May gets, he must be doing backflips. You get to go to a team with all that weapon on the offensive side of the ball. Like, dude, anybody that goes to Minnesota, you'd be excited. So
I think that's fine. That's good. But so who's up? Me? I'm on the clock. The Denver Broncos.
That'd be you for the Denver Broncos.
Denver Broncos just got wiped out, people. They got wiped out, right? So what are their needs other than quarterback?
I mean, there's still some quarterbacks there if you want.
Yeah, I know. Let's see here. Yeah. Who? Man, did they do that? I think. What are their needs? They got QB, wide receiver, center, edge. I think this is a situation where they go with the best available. You can slide up to the top there, big guy. Just go to the top of the. There you go. Just go up to the top. I think they're gonna go with. I haven't seen this name before. I think they're gonna go with Jared Verse, edge rusher. I think that for what they need.
I like the pick.
Yeah, it's something different. That they got wiped out, and Jared Verse is a plug and play, real true edge with a high floor. It'll just be interesting because I think they're another team. I don't think Michael Penix goes this early. I don't. And for Dallas fans, and I'm not doing this on purpose, I don't know what you guys are going to pick. Maybe he's there at 24, and then we get to have fun, and talk about the possible scenarios if it were to happen. But I would go with Verse. So I'm picking, so that's what we're going with.
What do you think it's based?
No, I mean, I think that I wouldn't be shocked if Michael Penix went there. I think that when you look at the quarterback market, it's very inflated. And, of course, Denver's been looking for that long-term answer at quarterback. And I think for Sean Payton, he's just looking for his next Drew Brees. He's looking for, or his next Tony Romo, a young guy that he can develop into something. And so, I mean, I think that Jared Verse is a fine player. I think that he would fit well in Denver. But if I'm looking at it from the Sean Payton perspective, hey, if I can get my pick of the quarterback that I want, let me go get that guy. But, yeah.
I don't know that's the thing, though. I don't know. I don't know how they feel about Penix. Penix is
right.
He's got an interesting delivery, and I don't know. I don't know about that. I know it. I know they're going to be in on the moving up for J.J. McCarthy. It'll be interesting because if McCarthy slides past the Giants, look for Denver because he loves J.J. McCarthy, Sean Payton. So, again, I think that would be more of a fit. But in this scenario, sorry, Sean, he's gone. So, Phil, you're on the board. Look at Phil scouring.
Yeah.
Panicking.
Well, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think because to me the Raiders. Is it the same Raiders team that used to do stuff where it's all crazy and they'll just go for like a speed guy like the Mitchell, Texas wide receiver? Is it that type of Raider stuff? Do they go ahead and get a quarterback? Do they? This is the type of situation where I think, I unfortunately, and it sucks for us, but if we were to have somebody drop down, I think this would make more sense. But if your quarterback is not there, if you're not trading back to try to get your guy, I'm going to go defensive interior. This guy seems like a Raider to me, unfortunately, and that would be Bryan Murphy. And this is where he gets kind of wiped off the board sooner than what a lot of people think. But I think to me, it makes a lot of sense to where the Raiders need.
I thought you were going to go Penix there.
Yeah, I was thinking Penix, but I thought maybe a little bit too early as well too.
Right.
Nice.
I see them possibly trading back. So yeah, that one was a little bit thrown up there because I think they can go in a lot of different directions.
I like it.
For sure. I guess now I'm on the board with the Saints here.
You are on the board with the Saints.
With the 14th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Troy Fontenot, tackle, Washington. I think that with what you can do with Troy, you can move him on the inside. If you feel like Trevor Penning's your answer at left tackle, while you could be in a situation where, hey, they say they need quarterback, you have Derek Carr there still. You want to make sure you're building up this team. Why not add another offensive lineman on there? There are also plenty of defensive linemen that you could still go after later on, that is. But no, get the best player on the board and let's continue rolling.
Oh, I like it. What do you think?
It, man.
What do you want?
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
All right. So now you got the Colts.
All right.
I got to give him his music, otherwise he won't pick.
Yeah, well, I got my dog over there. All of a sudden wants to play. My dog keeps bringing me a treat, a toy, and dropping it at me. All right. This was an easy one for me. Give me Terry and Arnold, the cornerback of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yep.
Terry and Arnold. You know, Brock Bowers could be a spot here. Brock Bowers could be a spot here.
I was thinking that as well too, just because you get a guy for your young quarterback, hopefully to get him to stop running so much. So I mean, I would not be disappointed, but. I could see the Colts going corner as well on this one. I think they're one of those teams that they need more than what they're saying over here. They say they just need wide receiver and defensive back. I don't think so. They need more than that. I like it.
Yeah, I could easily see them go Brock Bowers here, maybe a Dallas Clark type of situation. I could see that, but I'm giving them the best corner that I have.
I like it.
So yeah, that's good, and maybe thought it was good.
All right. So it looks like I have Seattle, and man, this one's gonna hurt a little bit just because I don't want to do this. Where's he at? So this is where I see Latu dropping off the board. Seattle is one of those teams that they're building their rush back up, and this guy really, hey, he's already on that West Coast whole thing, just moves up a little bit further up the coast, and he makes a home in Seattle, and so I think Latu goes to Seattle.
All right.
Latu with the bad, I think he's got hips issues or something. He's got something going on. Good. Drop more players to us.
Yeah, exactly. Now, okay, so it's going to be Space's turn. Here we go.
With the 17th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select. We're going to go with Olu Fashanu, the tackle out of Penn State. Give my guy Trevor Lawrence some needed protection.
He needs it. I'm glad you went there. Little hands, but we don't care, right? Because he's 6'6", I think.
And you can move him inside if you need to.
Yes. That was my. If Phil didn't take Fuaga to the Jets, that was the guy that fit the Jets. So that's a great pick for the Jags. And Trevor Lawrence is thanking you, Space. Thank you. I need somebody to stay off me.
All right. So for the Bengals, you got the Bengals here.
Ooh, yeah.
And there's somebody that makes sense right there.
Can you slide up to the top so I can see their needs? I know where I'm going with it. I just want to see it.
It just shows tight end, tackle, and defensive.
Okay.
end.
Yeah. Well, this is where, man, there's some good tackle. There's still some pieces there that teams are going to love, but I'm going to go Brock Bowers to help out Joe Burrow here. Brock Bowers off the board to the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that's going to be a great weapon.
So yeah.
Yeah, Brock Bowers. Well, I really did consider going with one of the offensive linemen, but Brock Bowers. Bengals don't
Nice,
really
nice.
cherish linemen too much. They like when their quarterback gets killed. So, let's give him a tight end.
Yeah, so to me, the Rams are in this spot
There's
where
a lot of beasts out there, so love it.
there is, and to me, if a guy like where I ended up picking, of course, Murphy doesn't get picked there, and he starts to drop. That's where you can see them get. They have to replace that interior line where Aaron Donald is now not there anymore, and so they love their pressure. So not having that guy there, you kind of settle with, best player available kind of there. Newton, you could make a thing, but I think their tackle needs is a little bit more. And so I'm going to go J.C. Latham from Alabama for the Rams.
Love him. I don't even know that he makes it this far, but I love that.
I
love
agree. I agree. Probably not. All right. So it looks like it's going to be space for the Pittsburgh.
Interesting. He's gonna do it.
Well, I'll explain my pick in a second. With the 20th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Bryan Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU. The Steelers have been giving indications that they want a wide receiver. I think
inside scoop here.
I think that they'll now. I do think that we kind of think that JPJ or another offensive lineman could go here, as they do look to add someone in the interior. That would be cool and all, but I think the medicals scare them off a little bit, and they decide, you know what? Let's give our guys some weapons to work with.
Thomas Jr. I love it because I haven't seen it yet. But this is good. This is good. Not to mention, they're dropping some beasts closer to us. So, oh, shit. Does this... Oh, thank God I'm not picking the Eagles. Thank God. Hey, yes. So who do I got? The Miami Dolphins? The Miami Dolphins?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. But you are picking. It's weird. Yeah, you are. Nice.
I'm on the clock, right?
Yeah, you're the Miami Dolphins. You got it.
So you get the Eagles, is what I'm saying.
Why does it say the Eagles need a wide receiver? That's so weird.
I get the Cowboys. I thought you got the Cowboys.
No.
For some reason I was too, but
oh, I'm sorry. I screwed it up.
Yeah, the third one did. Yeah, that's okay. I like that. Okay.
Fuck. Sorry.
For Miami.
Son of a. Shit.
That's how Steven and Jerry go. Dang, is it us? No, damn it.
Oh, man, I screwed the pooch on this one. All right. We all know what they need, right? It's like, they want ice cream here. Just what flavor do they want? They want Amarius Mims, who's got 8 college games played, and is a risk. He's a big reward, though. Do they go with Jackson Powers Johnson? That's a plug and play, but he's seeing 3 of them out there because of his concussion issues, and he needs to go see Rocky's doctor. Or they'll go with probably the best offensive lineman on the board at this point with position flex, Phil's guy, Graham Barton to the Miami Dolphins. I'm the Cowboys, so I screwed myself. So.
It happens. Man.
Son of a.
Yeah, exactly. If Barton doesn't go there, I think Mims is a very big thing because that would be such a Miami move, Mims. But Barton, gives you flexibility. I don't think that's a bad pick. Anybody that picks him.
Yeah, because again, and I want to hear space on Barton because I haven't gotten his take, but in my opinion, he hasn't played center since like a freshman in college at Duke. Yeah. But we know he could play guard at an unbelievable level. And we know that he has a possibility of playing tackle. So, Space, what's your thought on Barton?
I personally...
game, baby. 69.
Nice. Anyway, no, you're good. Look, I think with Graham Barton, if the Cowboys were to get him, he would be a left guard for sure. I think that Wall, if you wanted to force him to play center, he could fit that mold. I just think that with Graham Barton, if he is the pick, I think that would signal that you're moving Tyler Smith to left tackle. I really like Graham Barton in his film at guard. If you asked him to play center, a little cause to pause, but given how he plays the position, I think he's suited. So I think if he goes to Miami, I mean, you plug him in at guard and you just continue moving along.
Yeah, I mean, who do they have? Didn't Connor Williams leave at
He's
center?
still.
So I mean, that might be something.
He's a free agent,
as well.
I think.
I think he's
well,
still.
and he was coming from Miami, so I mean, they could possibly wanting to put Barton at center, and I agree. Tackle a little bit like he didn't play that.
Connor back now that you got Barton, and then let the better man win. I mean, who knows? But yeah, sorry people, I had to go with the best. I think that's what would happen there, in my opinion.
Yeah, and let's be real, Linda. I'm going to be the exact same thing because I'm thinking the same thing, and I'm going to give my explanation now for the 22nd pick of the NFL draft. The Philadelphia Eagles, unfortunately, select Cooper Dewan.
All right, Space. I need Space's reaction to this, and then I'm going to lay into the pick. So.
Yeah, to me, you can't rely on Bradbury. You can't rely on this. To them, they're going to think they already have. Is that what you said? Oh, not Bradbury.
James Bradbury.
Yeah, well, anyways, you need something backup plan other than him. I mean, right now they think they have Huff that'll take place and just plug in, and he'll do the exact same thing as Hassan Reddick. So I think that's a big mistake, and I think that's why, as much as they. They talk about their free agency. The draft is where they kind of mess it up, but the first round isn't usually where they mess this up. And I think getting a guy like Cooper Dewan in here would definitely elevate your defense. I call him Dewan. So, anyways, go ahead. French.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
No, man. I think that for the Eagles, I wouldn't be surprised if they went this way. The board fell. I mean, if I were them, I would trade down because I like guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry. I do like also who else is on the board as we're going through this, and so they can get some extra draft capital and then select that. But no, I think that otherwise, looking at their team, they did a lot in free agency on the offensive side of the ball where they don't need to add more weapons there. I don't know, again, why the person who did this says they need a receiver. They really don't. I think that defensively they need help with those linebackers and corners. I mean, but to be honest with you, with how we're getting a feel for this draft, I think they'll get a guy in round 2. So.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think, Bryan, about the pick?
Listen, I'll just say, yes, he's a great athlete. And I don't mean no disrespect to this, but who was the Giants' white cornerback back in the day? That's just the thing. How many great white quarterbacks are there? I'm sorry. I'm just going to throw it out there. I would be a little skeptical. Jason Sehorn. Now, if he plays safety, I like the pick, but I don't think they're playing him at safety. So, I don't know. Yeah, he's a hell of an athlete. That's the right pick there. I'm being funny, people. But, that's fine. That's fine.
Right.
I would expect them. I'm with Space. If a Cooper DeJean, if a Kool-Aid didn't have the True Jones fracture in his foot, or the Larry Bird injury, as we like to say, he would be up. But he's not. That's a tough injury to bounce back from. I'm not saying that's why they don't take him, but I just think he drops a little bit, just like other people that you see are dropping. What's up, Chris May? I think that's the way. I would say a sneaky pick there would be Nate Wiggins. Depending on what they really think. And I keep hearing, I don't know, Space, I want your opinion before we move on. I keep hearing about they're going to draft offensive line. Do you really think they would draft offensive line in the first round?
The Eagles, no. I think that with how their offensive line,
you're hearing like JPJ.
Maybe. No, they'd have Cam Jurgens, and so I think they're fine. I mean, look, kind of like
fine. But,
I mean, kind of how I would look at it is it depends on how you feel on Cam Jurgens and the rest of the O-line. If you feel like that he's not going to be as good as Jackson Powers-Johnson, then sure, take him. But I think that with how the board's falling, I mean, they don't really need to add more.
A lot of help in that secondary. So I don't care what pick, Wiggins or DeJean. I think DeJean's the better athlete. I think, Phil, you picked him. Yeah, you did the right thing. though.
All
I
right.
think that was a good pick.
For sure.
Yeah, that one was a little bit tougher for me, just because, I just think offensively they got quite a bit of stuff to them, so I don't think they would look in that direction. But you never know, right? So now it's going to be space with Minnesota's pick again, right? You loops back around.
Yep.
Everybody.
All right. With the 23rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Jerzon Newton, interior defensive lineman, Illinois. I mean,
Awesome.
dude, the fact that he was on the board for as long as he was is
And
something
I think
to
that
behold.
might happen. I really do.
And so,
Yeah.
like, if I was the Cowboys and I'm seeing him fall, I'm like, please, just fingers crossed. I would love to have a chance. I mean, look, I know it's not the sexiest pick, but again, you look at what the Vikings do. They get their quarterback, then they turn around. Well, they could go in the offensive line. I think they can wait on that with who they have right now. But hey, get the best player defensively, and you move forward. So.
Nice. All right, Brian. As everybody's anticipating now, you weren't expecting it, but here we go.
Just slide down a little bit. I want to think this one out. I know we're running long, but it's all right. We're having fun. I want to, all right, just stop it there. You don't have to go. You got obviously the bullseyes there. You got it's one of two players here. I know Ultra's been talking up Tyler Nubin, safety out of Minnesota. I do know they like him, but I don't think they could. This is where I blame the Cowboys, for putting us in this position to, not fill any holes. So it's like, what are the most glaring holes? Well, we got two offensive line pieces that are no longer on the team anymore. So my question to you guys is, I'm going to make my pick based on what I think the best immediate and guaranteed impact would be. But I don't know upside who would be better. In my opinion, it's either Amarius Mims, the mammoth right tackle. I want to let everybody know he played right tackle in college. So not only does he only have 8 games played at a high level in college at right tackle, he's expected to move to left tackle and play really well. So again, I'm not saying they wouldn't do this, but in this scenario, the most important impact would have to be Jackson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. Phil, ring the bell, baby. You got your guy.
I'm not gonna lie, man. You made my nipples hard there, so I appreciate that.
A little bit. I know, Ultra's like, we can't do it. We can't do we can't draft center. Well, we have 2 starters, guys, that aren't on the team. TJ Bass, he plays guard. He's going to be in the rotation. Brock Kaufman, okay. All right. I don't know that he's that guy. He could be a backup. He could compete. What do you think, Space? Did I screw it up or what?
No, look, you get a guy that's going to...
What's your feeling on Mims? That's the really...
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think Mims is in the same realm of a Tyler Guyton, this guy has been linked of late to the Cowboys, so please keep an eye on him on draft night.
Bang, quiz.
I think that for Amarius Mims, you have a guy that is extremely athletic, has the build you would want in a tackle. It's just the technique and having him built up to be that guy at left tackle. If you're taking a guy that's on the right side of the offensive line, and depending on how they want to talk about it, that's more of an indictment on Terrence Steele than it is on the left side. But Mims, you can mold him into a fantastic tackle, but I'm not willing to take that now. I think that if you want an immediate impact on the O-line, go get JPJ. That's if you want to go down that route. Go get JPJ. Yeah. Call it a day. And he's not the only center that you can go get. Zach Frazier's a guy that I really like as well. But nah, man, just go get him.
I would say to you where I want to trade down, because we've done many mocks and I'm trading down, and I'm normally getting Zach Frazier in the early 30s.
Right.
So that's where, and I get my 4th round back, or sometimes I get it more than that. So it's like, I totally hear you. But in this scenario, I was just a little concerned because in my mind I'm like, ooh, left tackle. But Mims played right tackle, people. If he was a left tackle that had 8 games played, I would be more willing to roll the dice. Now, in
Right.
saying that, just real quick, let's not take out right tackle. If one of those guys slide, right, or even a guard, a real good guard, let's say Latham drops, which I love Latham. I don't know that he's going to drop, but, we may take a right tackle at some point and slide Terrence Steele into right guard eventually. That's a possibility too. So there's a lot of options for Cowboys, but in this scenario, come on now, give me Phil's guy. Give me him. Let's roll. Yeah. So, all right, here we go.
So with the next one, so that's it. We don't even have to do the rest of the draft. No, okay.
All right, thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah. No, so with the 26 picks, I think one thing Green Bay has had a more recent record of is making us regret things. And it's kind of sucks that we're on the receiving end of this. And I think this is going to be one of those things that if this type of scenario happens, we go JPJ, and which I would like. Obviously there's always some question marks, I think, with any of these guys. And so I think with Green Bay making you regret, I think what you don't take, they jump on. And of course they got to replace the tackle that was there, that was the All-Pro, that was getting injured and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and with Green Bay, I'm going to take Mims and put him there and see. And that way they always compare. Oh, they could have had Mims at that pick, but Green Bay ended up taking them right afterwards. So I go tackle.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to the Buccaneers.
Yes, sir. We can play that music.
Yeah.
Right. With the 26th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia.
Oh, he's off early. Wow.
They
make it. Ooh,
they get their replacement for Ryan Jensen, who retired this year because of the injuries that he suffered. You just plug and play Zach Frazier, and you just, hey, you know what? We get another center, and we keep moving.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's funny. Like that name, Zach Frazier, I see is like ending with the Cowboys. People go, oh my God, we took Zach Frazier early, way too early. But I've thought about that too, that somehow he's going to be a Cowboy if, let's say, JPJ is going,
right,
and it's Zach Frazier, and it's Mims, and it's Guyton on the board. We might take Zach Frazier at 24. So that's a good pick. So that tells you, don't expect him to be there, real late, because it's not necessarily going to happen.
Right.
So with the 27th pick, Brian, you have Arizona, and they went with a wide receiver early in the draft, in our mock draft. What are you picking on the 27th pick?
All right. I am going to give the Arizona Cardinals cornerback Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. I think he will fit in good on the defense. He's a ball hawk. He reminds me of Forbes out of Washington. Skinny kid, but tall, ball hawk. I like it. So give me Nate Wiggins.
Nice. I like the pick.
Especially after he took Byron Murphy. So, yes.
All right. So it is going to. Oh, it's going to be me with Buffalo. Oh, great. I think you're going to have Buffalo here for a second. Okay. Let me think. To me, the automatic thing that you would have is that they need to replace. They need to replace a wide receiver, and and Brad, exactly. And it may, by this point, who's dropped off the board. Is Mitchell a guy that they want to go with? To me, I'm not as impressed with the body work. I like speed and everything. He's an athlete and stuff. But am I replacing Diggs with that guy? I don't think so. And to me, the only wide receiver left on this board that would make an impact on an offense that's not supposed to go here is I am going to take wide receiver Keon Coleman and surprise everybody, and just have a guy that's going to be a guy that you can go into the future with Josh Allen, and he's going to make an impact. And so I take Keon Coleman for Buffalo.
The big body, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So no arguments there. I like it.
Yeah. Just give.
I think Yeah, I think we all know that they want to go. They could go safety there if DeJean drops, or they could go Nubin. Because they lost their
Newman, I think
safety.
that's not a bad one. Yeah.
But
Okay.
we all know they need a wide receiver. They
Right.
just got rid of their a Josh Allen security blanket, so it doesn't matter who. Give them a receiver. So that's good.
Mark is in the house.
What's up? Yo, you the man, yo. You around, homie?
That guy just call you the Godfather?
Must be joking around or something.
Oh my God, Mark. Right.
In the house. So, okay, so the next pick, it looks like Space is going for you with Detroit.
Alrighty. With the 29th pick in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions take Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback
Kool-Aid.
out of Alabama. They continue.
Correct. I agree with that one.
Get themselves some more continue to get in that defense,
What's up,
buffed
Regina?
up and all that other stuff. So, real quick pick. It's
Brian, you have got the Ravens on the clock on the 30th pick.
All
Let me
right.
Get that music.
Yeah, what's their needs again? Wide receiver and just rattle off what
O-line.
it
It says edge rusher, and it looks like cornerback.
say. Okay. I will give the Baltimore Ravens one Chop Robinson, edge rusher out of Penn State. Is the owner there? He is. He's low there, but he's a big time athlete who played edge solely like Micah. He's like Micah, but he played edge. He never played linebacker, so he's an edge rusher. Give him Chop Robinson.
Not bad, not bad.
Choppity chop.
Yeah, I'm like trying to look here. Man, okay, for San Francisco, man, my pick for San Fran.
Maybe some offensive linemen, maybe. What do
Thinking
we got?
offensive line.
You got Jordan Morgan, and you
I'm
got.
just trying I'm trying to put myself in what's his name's eyes. So to me, San Francisco seems like they would really
where's
focus
the
a lot
BYU
on
guy?
defense.
I don't
So
see him on there.
I could see them kind of going out of the realm, maybe even taking a Tyler Nubin here. Getting a guy because they love leaders on their defense, and this is a guy that, unfortunately, he's definitely a leader, making plays and everything. And that just seems like a San Francisco type of guy if he's not from Dallas. So I'm going to take Tyler Nubin, not a need that they necessarily have, but it's best player available and a guy that can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that one in on the board. So you're going to have the last pick, the Kansas City Chiefs. Space, our special guest here, going to close it out now.
For sure. And with the final pick of the first round, the 32nd pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champions back-to-back, select Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas. Man, if they get this cat, oh, Lord of mercy. Like, he fits very well with that team. He fits so well.
Yeah.
And they don't have to move up to get this guy.
Fell in their lap. There it is, people. Drink it in. Drink it in.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. It just definitely some curveballs there.
Yeah, which
you're
I
gonna
liked.
have trades, obviously. Yeah, definitely something that I was looking at the draft and I was doing it earlier, and I was just a different outcome. I really like that. I think that's the way that this draft is, though. I mean, when you look at a lot of these positions, almost every single one of them, you can at least name 4 or 5 of these guys that you would pretty happy with settling with, especially depending on where you drop. Guys, going after this draft has happened and everything, and the undrafted free agents, which is again another thing that they love to do. Where do you see the draft really being an impact? Do you see those guys from the previous year, like a Mozzie Smith, making an impact? Do you see Deuce Vaughn making an impact? Do you see Luke Schoonmaker making an impact beyond what these guys are going to do? Do you see those second-year players actually making an impact? Space, we're going to start with you.
I think they can. I think it's just a matter of how they grow in year 2. I think for Mozzie, it's a matter of just having him play one tech. I don't understand why they wanted to, more specifically with Dan Quinn, of course. I don't know why they wanted to move him to a different position and then you want to just play around with him. Like, you don't do that. When we took him, it was the idea of, hey, they're taking this guy to do this one role. It's not a sexy pick. Let's roll with that. But then you look at the other dudes in that. You have a Luke Schoonmaker, which you're hoping he turns into a reliable tight end too for you, which he has the measurables of being a solid tight end. It's just older guy. I don't know how much better he's going to get there. And then you have a couple other guys, like, for example, DeMarvion Overshown. You're hoping that the ACL injury doesn't hamper him too much and he becomes a key contributor on your defense. And then you have a couple other dudes after that. And the only reason I'm just kind of skimming over these guys is because there really wasn't a whole lot of promise from those guys. I know people brought up Deuce Vaughn, and I thought he showed flashes in the preseason. But I think that they didn't really know how to use him properly, given with what he can do. And so you have a couple, I think there's another name to keep an eye on, and that's Brooks, our 7th round selection at wide receiver. I think that he could be someone to monitor, but they got a lot of work to do, and they got to hope that these dudes step up. If not, it's going to could be one of the worst draft classes we've seen in Cowboys history. Recent Cowboys,
Bryan, give me your opinion on it, and we're going to go ahead and close it out of these guys in their second year for the after their draft there.
What am I giving opinion on? I'm sorry.
Well, just there are second-year guys, Mozzie, Luke, all those guys
everybody's. We were at the draft, right? We were just as shocked as anybody else. It's good to know that Mozzie they have a plan for him. Dan Quinn, as much as he did, the more you hear, the more you kind of get annoyed. It's like, why were you trying to make this guy be a 3 technique? It's just like a philosophy thing. They basically came out and said it was Dan Quinn's philosophy. And Stephen Jones, you can say whatever you want about him, but he said the other day that he aligns more with what Mike Zimmer wants, and their goal is to get him to 350 pounds, which is, hey, he's eating a lot of Mexican food and he's pounding it on. A little carne asada. So listen, there's a lot of guys on that defense that Overshown we never saw. Everybody's given up. Let's not forget about Junior Fehoko, an edge rusher we got. Eric Scott Jr. It's to be determined whether he was a Dan Quinn pick, and he's not long. We gave up a 5th round pick in this year's upcoming draft to move up last year. So to get him, and he didn't play 1 snap. So we need to see about Eric Scott. The space brought it up. Phil knows I've been the champion this guy since training camp. You have Jalen Brooks. Love Jalen Brooks. Don't forget the tight end who had an ACL injury. John Stevens Jr., a converted 6'5" wide receiver that's converted to tight end, that was the best tight end in draft last year prior to getting hurt. Don't forget wide receiver speedster David Durden, who had an ACL last year. We have a lot of talent that nobody knows about, which is good, which is why they didn't go out and spend money foolishly. I still would have liked to have them made some moves, Phil. But I'm actually excited with year 2 guys.
Yeah. Guys, I appreciate you guys, doing this annual thing that we've started up now. Of course, space will be booked in for next year, so you don't really have a choice. Bryan,
right.
anything you want to say to the crowd? Because I'm going to let space
I've been saying a lot as well, too. We're getting ready to go to the draft. I'll have some stuff up tomorrow. Stay tuned. Let's ride, baby. Captain Trade down. Let's trade.
And guys, you can find him, of course, Space Cowboy Media, Twitter, YouTube, everything. Give us a little closing of what you look forward to with these Dallas Cowboys, because we haven't seen you on line for a while, so it's kind of nice to see you
on the line,
making an appearance.
No, for sure. I appreciate you guys for having me on. It's fun talking about these Cowboys, or I guess not fun because sometimes how they handle stuff. I don't think the team's terrible. I just think that the way they've handled this offseason, they've put themselves behind the 8 ball. and they really need to have a home run draft if they really want to make sure that they can make up for what they did in free agency. A couple tidbits that I have for you guys, just so that you remember going into draft night for the people that I've talked to while I've been away for a little bit. Tyler Guyton is a name to keep an eye on day one. The Cowboys do like what he brings to the table in terms of his measurables. He's very much so similar to a guy like Mims. I think that it's just it would be a weird pick considering we're like, what the hell. Another possibility is, would we see a trade down? I don't think so. I think it would have to be a nice offer and the Cowboys saying, hey, I don't know if we're going to get this guy or a guy of his caliber. Another name on day 2 is, like I mentioned, Jonathan Brooks. Cowboys are very high on him. I don't think he'll be there at 56, to be honest with you. But if he is, I wouldn't be shocked if he's the pick. And then finally, I would say monitor. If you don't want to spoil the draft for yourself, do not go on social media at any point during draft night or before draft night. There was back in 2022 when Tyler Smith was the pick. Michael Gilkin pretty much spoiled the pick. In the sense of like, oh, this is who they're going to take when he's on the board, and he was on the board and they took him. That's a piece of advice. But if you are like, hey, I want to know what to brace myself for, then by all means, go on social media. Keep an eye on Michael Gilkin. He's usually very tapped into the Cowboys, and he does a fantastic job. So,
thanks, Curtis. Appreciate it, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. Well, Spaceman, I appreciate you giving us time.
Of course.
We look forward to something. I know you have something tomorrow night, guys. You can find him, of course, Space Cowboy Media, and of course, Game Time Bryan, which is pushing along, man. Yeah, congratulations on your number well too.
Thank you.
So guys, I appreciate you guys coming through. Give us your take. Who do you think was totally off? I know some of my picks weren't definitely there, so you can definitely argue with those. But anyways, I appreciate you guys coming through. But one thing I definitely appreciate you guys not forgetting to do is
ring that bell.
don't forget.